Welcome to Thomas's Comparison Driving Lounge, and old versus new, our special new feature right here, and the 986 Boxster. This year, it's told you technology-wise from 2002, but then built back visual-wise for a 97 model. And the first thing you notice is that the steering is more vague, as you know, compared to the new model. So this is here the low degree angles. This is more a little bit wobbly, not too much reaction. Only when you get to the outsides you have a little bit more feeling, but that's definitely better in the new model. What's also different here in the older model is you sit higher inside the vehicle, so you feel more like sitting on the car than in the car. That's definitely different. The new model, you sit more integrated, but definitely you already feel it's a modern car. That's really cool. So although it's 20 years old here basically, it doesn't feel so outdated. It feels really more or less timeless, I have to say. And chassis wise, and as for the center of gravity, this is already awesome. It still drives like a go-kart even now, and this is just a pure driving fun, definitely. With the automatic gearbox here, of course, it's comfortable. With the manual gearbox, it's a little bit more engaging to drive. That's also an interesting difference, that with the old model, the manual gearbox was faster. Nowadays, the automatic gearbox, the PDK, the Porsche Dual Clutch transmission, is faster than the manual. So that's a switch. Here, the old automatic gearbox are converter automatic gearboxes. They are a little bit slower, definitely. Interesting that you can control this Tiptronic, that's how they called it then, also here at the steering wheel, and at both sides you can, so with both minus you can shift down, and with both you can also shift up. So yeah, why not? And there's also then the kick down automatically, so even when you are in the automatic mode and you hit the throttle, then you have this kick down. But really the cool thing to me is that it drives like a modern vehicle, and it has such a great handling. I mean, yes, the steering feel is better nowadays, but this one already, you feel it. That just chassis-wise, such a fun vehicle, and you really get this old school vibe here when driving the vehicle, and definitely, yeah, I can say the same driving fun, and with a little bit of nostalgic feeling, of course, looking back to my very first test co-drive, in this case then, back then with my uncle. So I also sent him this video, of course, so best greetings to him. And yeah, it's always great to have a personal nostalgic connection to a vehicle, no doubt. So let's shift back here, and it's really interesting how the sound from me comes really from the left side here, from the midship engine concept. And I mean, it's not a super fast acceleration in this model, so about 6.6 seconds. So that's definitely quicker with the new model. So not a great performance machine in a way on, you know, if we compare nowadays performance cars, but still it's definitely fast enough. So you don't have a lazy feeling or so. I think it has the right power size for that time, no problem. And of course, naturally aspirated. So you have this linear power output, this linear power curve. So it doesn't feel, you know, that artificial as some turbo engines feel. So I have a lot of fun driving here in the 986. Yeah, it's not explosive as the power, but really nice, smooth acceleration. Of course, driving with open top, always a fun feeling. The thing is here, the Boxster, definitely more a summer convertible. A lot of wind turbulence is coming here in the cabin, here at about 90 kilometers an hour, so about 50, 55 miles per hour. But I mean, yeah, that hasn't changed. And if you want an all-season convertible, you'd rather go then for a different kind. Yeah, really nice, flooring it out. Wow. I mean, we still want to drive this with open top, because this car is about open top driving, and it's super cold outside today, yes, but that didn't hinder us from driving this one here with the open top. So really cool first impressions here from 986. And even more looking forward. I mean, I've been driving the 718 Boxster for a couple of times in different versions, but it's always something different. If you directly hop on from one car to another, how it feels right then. Now one more here, corner, steering work a little bit more, acceleration out, beautiful. But drivetrain-wise, in comparison, it feels a little bit lazy if we now compare it to the recent iteration. I would say, let's switch it. And now the 718, the current generation, here with the 4-liter 6-cylinder flat engine. Sport Plus mode, you already hear it. And let's accelerate it out. Okay, that's something different. So clearly, performance-wise, a huge difference to the old model. And I mean, it's both naturally aspirated, but when you hit the throttle right here, huge difference. So performance-wise, this is really a major difference than here. I mean, acceleration figures 6.6 seconds versus 4 seconds. That's of course then something you really feel in driving. And indeed, you sit a little bit more integrated into the vehicle. As for the seating position, steering is super precise here, so that's also different. So here the low degree area, this already has an effect. It's just more precise and better to handle as for the steering. So definitely as for the connection, driver, car, road, this is better here with the new model. You just have more feel for the car. And sound-wise, I think also a big improvement. We just hear more of the sound, definitely. However, the older model more had some kind of cruising feeling, I would say, whereas the new one is more in a sporty direction. I mean, this one here also being then the top sporty trim level, definitely, comparable to the GTS model. But this could be also something where you would say, I want the older model because I'm more searching for this cruiser vehicle. It's sporty as well, yes, and also handling-wise, it was excellent. But definitely when you drive this one here, especially in the Sport Plus mode, you are more in this attack sports mode. You know what I mean? So this can be indeed something where you say, if you want this more cruiser Porsche, then go for the more vintage model. And if you want it sportier, then the new one would be the choice. However, if you go to the base driving mode, then it can also be rather silent. The exhaust note is more subtle. The valve is not open. Then you can also use this one as a cruiser. And now we have a beautiful shot here again of two cars. Really enjoyed both driving parts. The question is, which one would I go for just driving-wise? And the thing is, this one here has a more sporty driving experience. It feels like the perfect driving machine. So, for driving it sometimes as a joyride and with a little, joyride comfort focus, I think the older model has somehow more, nostalgic touch, definitely. But if you want the perfect sports vehicle, and to me, the Boxster or the Cayman are the perfect Porsche cars. Mid-tip engine concept. It has better handling than the 911. I think for this episode, I would take the current one, the new one. However then, as I told you earlier, to me, the real Boxster is the Boxster T, or then the GTS if you want the 4-liter 6-cylinder. And this is how it all started with mid-ship engine sports cars at Porsche. This one here, a 550 Spider from 1956, and we are here in the Boxster 25 years exhibition. Usually you could visit this place here, but due to the COVID situation, we are here to show it to you. And here we can see the development of the midship engine sports cars. Here you can see more angular design from 1974, a VW Porsche 914 powered by a 4-cylinder VW engine. Further on, you can see that the design moves more on the round direction again, 984 prototype from 1984. And then this is especially interesting here for our episode today. This is here the 986 Boxster in a cutaway model. And these extensive cutaway models are not being done today anymore because it's so expensive and work intensive to do that. And you can really very well see how the car looks like from the inside, and especially, of course, the midship engine concept really sitting behind the seats. Yeah, you might think, doesn't it get hot? So I think the real clue to this is really to integrate this engine so well into the chassis. No space is being wasted, and of course there you can see why these vehicles drive so well, because the center of gravity is being kept so extremely low. That's really interesting. This one here, by the way, you can always read the nice signs, 1999, 6-cylinder flat engine, and of course really spectacular here, this so-called Bergspider from 2015, also with a 6-cylinder flat engine. So a lot of interesting vehicles here to discover in this exhibition, and glad we can show that to you. And this is the original concept car for the first series production Boxster, 1993. So the Boxster concept or the study, and you can very well see how they actually kept the design of the concept vehicle and put it to the first 986 generation. That's really, really cool. And just 3 years between that. Especially here, these wheels with the individual screws, 18-inch. And of course, the interior is more, look at that. Really spectacular. And of course, hand-built, so that's not really made to work. Now to our conclusion for today with the Porsche Boxsters, old versus new. Well, from the nostalgic charm, this one is the clear winner, definitely, and it has a special feeling, and of course my personal connection. But the overall winner for today, I must say, is the new one, because the look just a little bit more, a little more aggressive, a little bit more angular, especially the headlamp design. I think it's better with the newer one. Here in the 25-year special edition model, I really like this gold-silver contrast. That's also really cool. But I also like the 718 Boxster in the Miami blue, for example, this screaming out blue color tone. Interior-wise, I think also that the newer generation has, just more perfection in design, better build quality, and so on. Really cool that we see that Porsche offers this program that they can retrofit newer infotainment system for their older models. So that's also available for, for normal customer, not only especially here with the museum vehicle. And driving wise, it's really a huge difference. The vintage model has this special style of, a little bit more cruising feeling, I would say. Not too much in the performance. The new model, especially here as a top trim, wow, what a great performance. Also clearer and better from the sound, and especially the steering feeling. That is a huge difference to me. So that makes this car here a perfect driving machine. The midship engine concept, that we have a great handling on the road and the weight band and so on, that's already present with the old car. But this, let's say, this perfect driving machine feeling, that is then present with the 718 generation. That's so cool about this car. It's also a reason why this is one of my favorite Porsches, and I always prefer the Boxster. If you compare it to the 911, I would always pick this one because it has just this perfect handling. I hope you enjoyed this special episode for today. Leave us your comments. Which one would you pick? I would go for the new one today. But what's your choice? Tell me in the comments what you thought about our new old versus new series for today. See you next time.